Robert Gibbs was a senior advisor to the Obama campaign. He also served as the administration's first White House press secretary. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So here, the big speech. You have read it. You have seen it. Characterize it.
Well, look, I think it is, it's hopeful, and it talks about the values and the visions and the ideals that bring us to this very moment as Americans. You'll hear the president talk a lot about what we have to do in this country together to make progress on the big challenges that we face. And look, it's not just one party can't solve these issues. Not even just those in government can tackle these big challenges. All Americans have to be involved if we're going to move beyond what's paralyzed this town for so long and make some real progress.
He'll try to recapture the spirit of bipartisanship.
He will, and look, I think it's a challenge to everybody in this country to lay down lay aside their partisanship and try to make some real progress for the country. And look, Charlie, it's not as if we're going to solve the really big issues or the really big divides in beliefs, but we can, if we sit down long enough, work together and talk together and make some progress on the issues that face us.
I heard from some of my sources that the president finished this speech relatively early on Saturday. Usually presidents are writing to the very last minute these inaugural addresses. What's different than this year?
Well, I think he feels very comfortable with what he's got, very at ease with what he wants to say, and understands the moment that he and the country are in. And is anxious to get started.
Let's talk about the second term, because one of the things that happens to the president in his second term is that advisors move on, and a lot of the president's senior advisors are moving on. You've moved on. David Plouffe, his political advisors, moved on. Axelrod is not going to be there. Nancy Ann DeParle, John Favreau, the chief speechwriter. A lot of people are leaving. How's that going to leave the president for the second term?
Well, the great thing about that building is there are literally dozens and dozens of really talented people.
Only one indispensable man there.
Well, absolutely. And look, all of us are close enough by phone or by car that if he calls and needs something, as I've told people, you say, yes, sir.
Go ahead. But let me ask you, is there one line that will come out of this speech that we'll be talking about tomorrow?
Well, I don't want to get that far ahead. I think I do think there's several lines in which the president very much meets the moment of where we are.
Mm-hmm. And then about the controversy about whether enough women serving in leadership positions in the White House. Do you think that will change?
Well, look, I worked with Alyssa Mastromonaco and Nancy Ann DeParle, two of the smartest people I've ever worked with. If you look at people like Kathleen Sebelius or Janet Napolitano, it's hard to imagine there are two maybe more important agencies that we deal with each day. One is implementing health care and one keeps our country safe. So I think women will be, and all ethnicities will be well represented.
This talk probably made him focus on it more, though.
Well, look, he's heard this talk before, but at the same time, again, he lives in a house with three remarkably strong women. He doesn't need to read the newspaper to know what it's like to be around very strong women.
All right, Robert Gibbs, thank you very much.
Thank you.